Hello and welcome back to the FTHcast. I am Free the Hawk and I'm here back with the Brothers of Love. We got
Do you just not practice anything beforehand?
Usually what I do is I sleep until about 10 minutes before we record, and then I wake up and I just try to remember your names, and so I stall by saying stuff. So yeah, we got Nathan. Say hello, Nathan.
Hello.
And Kyle. Say hello, Kyle.
Hey, everybody.
And of course I'm Paul. Whatever. And I'm Paul. Hi. Awkward pause. How you guys doing? You guys ready? It's episode 21. We're basically veterans at this now.
That's right.
Basically.
Game of the month is, of course, the Arkham series. I'm just gonna go over FTH news, just topical. We're turning the show into a kind of a Larry King kind of deal, so we're gonna have a special guest.
So Larry King will be the special guest
Larry
here
King.
in a few episodes.
Yeah. No, but anyway, yeah. So sorry, I'm just getting sidetracked because I'm stupid. Arkham series game of the month, and we've got holidays coming up. I wanted to just say quickly, with the holidays coming up, I cannot guarantee this will stay weekly through November and December. So I'm just going to be saying that at the beginning and end of every episode until we get through these sick holidays and we don't have to worry about it anymore. So yeah, let's. What have you guys been playing? Let's get right into it. Let's jump back into an actual conversation that makes sense and segue really awkwardly with a really long statement. What have you guys been playing? Nathan, go. Nothing.
Man, I really haven't had time for much. Played a little more Battlefield 4 beta, and I started playing Dead Space 1 again.
Ooh, you're a month late, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of the beta, I've seen PC footage, and I've played the 360 beta.
Yeah.
And now I've seen the commercials they're showing that uses the same map that's in the beta, and neither the PC or the Xbox version looks as good as what they're showing on TV, and I'm really kind of disappointed
and the
in
beta
that.
won't. I mean, I don't know if you played Battlefield 3's beta, but it looked horrible.
I played the Xbox version, but you would think the PC version. I guess.
See, I don't know how that stuff works. But
I think they're missing textures, is what
it'll
it
definitely
is.
look better once it's out.
Yeah,
But as of now, the 360 version looks like garbage.
Yeah. From what I could tell, it was the main thing is they were missing textures, and the biggest texture they were missing is after the building goes down, like all the ground
the debris
gets.
it's just like muddled and.
Yeah, it's just like off white, and so it's like there's no texture at all, and it's really weird. But I don't know. I don't know if it's I don't like Battlefield series or not. But I didn't enjoy it, and I found going up to the top of the building really awkward. Did you guys find that weird? Have you played this, Kyle?
The beta for Battle? No, I have not.
Did you try? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I've talked about it 100 times, but
It's not Bad Company 3.
I know. I'm really disappointed, but for some reason the character in Battlefield 3, it's like I don't know. It just always seemed a little awkward to me. Just like movement in general. I don't know why. I don't know. Just I guess kind of the heaviness of the character.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it's like I could never quite get that game down. And I don't know. Like, I admittedly am horrible at Battlefield 3, and I don't know why. But I think for some reason it's just kind of like I don't know. It's a different experience than other Battlefield games that I've played. And so I figure that is mainly going to be carried over to Battlefield 4. I think obviously their focus is we have more memories, so let's just I don't know.
Make it better.
I feel like the core gameplay is just being carried over, and then they're just upgrading level size, level destruction.
Well,
stuff
Battlefield 3 is probably their most successful out of all the Battlefields, so it makes sense they're not going to touch it too much. But so back to the elevator thing, Nathan, have you got a chance to like go in the building while it was still up on that one map? Did you find it as confusing as I did? Because I would go
like trying to find the way up to the top.
No. I'd go in the elevator. I'd hit the button. I'd go up to the top. I could see the flag marker, and then I'd wait there for the door to open. Right, and trust me, I know my mistake now. and then all of a sudden I'd be teleported back down. Like literally, it's teleport. Like it's not an actual movement. Because clearly it's like 100 times faster than it would actually be if it was an elevator. Because it takes like 2 seconds to teleport you up there. Yeah. But like I found it really weird that like first of all I found it really weird that it automatically teleported me back down, like instead of just like closing the doors on me and leaving me up there. Because like it's not like I hit the button to go back down. It just teleported me back down, which I don't know. That to me that doesn't make any sense.
I almost wish there was more ways to get up. I mean I know you could fly up there, and then there's the elevator.
Yeah, how cool would it be if you could run up the stairs? Like, I feel like that'd be a cool opportunity. I don't know if they can't
do that. Like, I don't know if that's just like too complicated or something. But yeah, I think that'd be sweet. Yeah, if you had multiple staircases that go up to the top or something. Yeah,
especially if they made them like really interesting. Like it'd be a different place to have like infantry battle. Because I watched a review for the Battlefield 4 beta, and that was one thing that he said. He's like, it's really cool because once that building goes down, that whole landscape changes. And so now you have a place that's really interesting for infantry to fight because it's hard to get vehicles in there. And so now you have like all these crags where these infantry can hide from like airs and whatever and tanks and stuff. And so it kind of mixes up the type of combat that you have compared to when the building's still up. But I don't know. It felt really... It didn't feel very smooth. It felt very janky. Maybe that's part of the beta. Yeah. Maybe that's not the finished version of that map. I mean, obviously it's not. We just talked about the textures and stuff.
Right. But I think it'll be fixed. I mean, I'm being hopeful, but I mean, if it's anything like Battlefield 3, it'll be all right.
It is a beta. I should probably really it's a beta to test their netcode to make sure that all that stuff. But I feel like I should like send them a message and be like, your elevators don't make any sense because I get teleported down without hitting a button. Because that's the thing, like if it didn't teleport me back down, because the thing is the doors don't open because the doors behind you open. You're supposed to turn around and go through the doors behind you, or not. See, because what I was thinking is I went into the elevator, I pushed the button, and then I faced the doors that I came in, because that's how normal elevators work. But these have the doors on both sides, so you hit the button and then you go out the door the opposite direction that you came in.
Right.
Like you would, like it was a whole, I don't know.
It's one of them fancy elevators.
Exactly. Ugh. Did you play anything else? I'm sorry, I feel like I talked a lot.
No, that and Dead Space 1.
You liking Dead Space 1? It's the only scary Dead Space. Besides Dead Space 2.
Terrifying. I don't want to hear it.
Oh, it's a good game. All right, what about you, Kyle? You've been playing pickyournose.com.
I'm kind of in the same boat as Nathan. Been pretty busy here lately, so I haven't really got a chance to play much of anything new. I did... when I was debating on whether or not I wanted to watch Lord of the Rings or play Grand Theft Auto this weekend, I got on my PlayStation 3 because I thought I was going to watch Return of the King there for a minute, and played it's a top-down zombie shooter called Zombie Nation, I think that's what it's called.
I think I've heard of that.
But I got it for free whenever the network was hacked, like 3 years ago. And,
yeah.
I got that, and I think it was some Killzone 3 maps. But I never really, I played like the first like level or something like that, but then I'd always, whatever, like, go back to the actual like game I had in the system.
Right.
But I sat down and played a few levels. It was actually pretty hard. I'm thinking it was intended for multiplayer,
yeah.
Or I just suck, which probably a good combination of the both.
Yeah, twin stick shooters can be really, really hard. I'm usually not that good at them.
But it was actually, I mean, it was all right. The atmosphere was pretty cool. I mean, it was, the sound design, as far as like music and just sitting that kind of atmosphere was good. But
yeah,
I'm trying. I don't know. Even when Grand Theft Auto came out, I was just feeling kind of burnt out on, just third-person shooters, first-person shooters. So I'm trying to play stuff that's just a little, like left of center as far as like what I would normally play. Like there's a few games that I played on my iPad that are just they're cool games, but I'm not like Angry Birds. Forgotten Winds, I believe it's called.
And Star Wars Angry Birds.
And Star Wars Angry Birds.
But not Angry Birds.
Right. Just to kind of, I guess, refresh my palate. But I am excited for the games I have reserved coming out. So.
Ooh, what do you got reserved other than Arkham Origins?
Well, that's it, pretty much.
So the game that you have reserved.
well, you know what? I don't need this.
I'm just trying to make sure. I didn't know if you
done.
developed a lisp or if you were just wrong in what you were saying.
I mean, could potentially reserve. Like I almost reserved Stick of Truth. I'm sure I'll do that at some point.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's just being like so close to the next consoles coming out. I don't know. I'm not excited for the games that are coming out on the new console because my thought process is I'm not going to get one like day one.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, my thought process is, but they're still coming out for this. Or
But
for
you
this
want to waste your money.
Well, I mean, why would I? I mean, the games that are being released for. I mean, why would I want to play a, dumbed down version of it, for lack of a better term, and then turn around and my friends are like, oh yeah, we got this game and get it so we can all play together. I'm like, well, I got a crappier version of it on my 360.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of in like a stagnant limbo gaming area.
I can understand that.
Yeah, it's this holiday season's going to be interesting. I still have not decided if I'm going to get my PlayStation 4 or not. Like,
What?
I just don't know if I'm going to be able to afford it, is what it really boils down to. Like, it just boils down to, like, whether or not I'm going to be able to buy it and not put myself, like, without electricity. Because that'd be stupid, right? Like, buy a console and then 3 days later have my electricity turned off. But, like, we'll see. We'll see. I've been playing a lot of video games. Not really. I've been really busy too. I just had time to, like, I don't know, beat Amnesia, A Machine for Pigs all the way through last Monday. And then I played a little bit of Grand Theft Auto 5 with you guys. And then I played through the first episode of A Wolf Among Us, which I would like to talk a little bit about that.
How was that?
Let me finish. That's gonna be a bit of a little chunk of information. So, and then I played. I've been playing Pokemon X, which is good. I played the last Pokemon. I can't remember if I got black or white, and it was good. The one thing that I think I like about it is they have this device you can turn on, and then basically what happens, like if you're just XP grinding and trying to level up your party, you can turn this device on, and every time you kill something or defeat something, then everybody gets like half the XP that whatever your main thing that killed it gets. I don't know if that makes any sense. So you have like a party of 6. Yeah, I have my Charmander out. He kills something, he gets 100 XP. But all my other Pokemons that are in my party, all the other 5 get like 50 XP, which normally they don't get any at all, which is kind of nice. It just kind of speeds up the process a little bit, and it's not too overpowered or anything. So that's kind of interesting. But I don't know. It's probably one of those things where I'm going to get really overwhelmed because there's like 500 Pokemon in it. There's like more Pokemon in this than there are in any of the others.
What? Excuse my ignorance on the topic. What are the differences between the X and Y? Is it just different Pokemon that are available?
Yeah, there will be. I don't think there'll be a difference in the story or anything like that, but there will be, and this is the way it's been through all of them. Through most of them. There's in this one, there's 2 legendary Pokemon that are only available on either the X or the Y, and then there will be sometimes certain versions, because they also have like male-female versions, or they have like fire and water versions of certain Pokemon that'll only be available on one or the other. And then there'll be just a select few that are just like random kind of normal Pokemon that'll only be available on one or the other. So basically it's to encourage you to either, one, be a loser, buy both, grind through both of them to get all the Pokemon and trade them to yourselves, or have friends and trade your Pokemon with your friends.
So if you were to get X and get the rare Pokemon and that, and then get on Y, do you bring your
I could trade it to myself.
Okay, whatever that means.
So, like, basically, if you have friends, I can say, hey, I'll give you this Pokemon for that Pokemon. And that's what a trade is. So sometimes, this happened a long time ago. People would have, like, furs and meats and spices and salt. And they would run into other people who had other things that they didn't have. And they would trade these items. It's just like that. But it's encourage you to it's supposed to encourage the trading system, because if like all the Pokemon were in one version and they didn't have two versions, then I would have no need to trade with my friends. Like, it's supposed to kind of encourage social interactions with other people who play Pokemon.
You'd have no reason to buy the same game twice with just different skins on the same Pokemon, probably.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, there's no real reason to do that unless you just don't have friends who play Pokemon. So I'm probably going to have to do that. Unless Ruthie gets wild, because I bought X. I hope she doesn't want X.
I wonder if I didn't have... I wonder if Trenton got another one.
I don't know.
Shout out to
Van Russelberg.
Does he have? I didn't think he had a 3DS. I thought Ruthie had one. They just kind of shared it.
No, they both have one.
Oh, what a loser!
I think they're not. I think they have just the DSs, the orange one and the green one, that were like Best Buy exclusives or something like that.
Those aren't even real. No, she has a 3DS because she played.
I have a 2DS.
Because she played she played Animal Crossing, which is 3DS only. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because we played together.
Well, whatever.
Actually.
They have something, I know.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Trent.
Would you just get off my back tonight, Paul?
God. No. Why don't you get off your dog's belly? How about that?
She's laying on the floor playing with her toys. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. Anyway, so that was Pokemon.
How's Wolf Among Us?
Yes, Wolf Among Us. Let's talk about Wolf Among Us. Recap what it is. It's basically fairy tale creatures live in New York City under a magic veil so other people don't find them. And the story, and that's like the world, right? And it's based off a comic book called Fables. Wolf Among Us, of course, is made by Telltale Games, who made the Walking Dead games, and they made a couple other games that weren't so good. Like, didn't they make the
they made Back
Jurassic
to the Future,
Park and
Jurassic
Back to the Future?
Park.
Yeah. So, you play as Big B Wolf, which literally is Big Bad Wolf. Yeah, that's probably the worst part of the game, and I'm assuming the writers. It really is. Like, to me, like, I'm trying to get over it. I'm like trying to immerse myself in the story. But the fact that they call him Big B Wolf is really weird. But then you kind of start to realize, like, once you start meeting other characters, it kind of feels more normal. Because, like, Ichabod, and this is the first thing you also got to understand. When it says fables, it means all fables. Like, every single fable you can think of. Like, ones you've never heard of, and ones you're like, why would that be in there? That's not a fairy tale from where I'm from. But, like, Grendel's in it from that world.
From Beowulf?
Yeah, from Beowulf. And then, like, Wizard of Oz characters are in it, Beauty and the Beast are in it, all the Disney type characters and all the non-Disney type characters, like anybody you can think of.
So it's like a catch-all for anything.
Yeah,
fantastical.
Really, and it is, and that's kind of what makes it cool, because then all of a sudden you're starting to realize, oh, I'm gonna run into, like, it's gonna show me a bunch of familiar characters, but then like in the first episode, they, like, the main kind of story makes you run into two characters you've probably never heard of unless you're some fairy tale buff for some reason. So you run into a girl, and her fairy tale basically is like her mom and her dad were the king and queen of this land, and they had a child, and she was the most beautiful girl in the world, and he had to do something, some magical potion, something happened, and he was like, I have to marry the most beautiful girl in the world, which ends up being his daughter. His daughter freaks out, and so she, like, wears like a goat skin coat which hides herself, and then she runs away with this prince, and then eventually they end up in New York City like all the other fairy tales. Another plot thing that's kind of important is there's a place called the Farm, which Big B, the Big Bad Wolf, he is the sheriff. He kind of just makes sure that the fairy tales won't kill each other or aren't robbing people, or if you're like, say you're Mr. Toad from the Mr. Toad books, if you're not in human form, oh gosh, I'm just realizing how complicated it gets. So to be in human form, you have to buy this, like, drug, and there's legal ways of buying it, which is really expensive. It's basically a magic potion, but they kind of treat it like a drug. Or there's illegal ways, underground ways to get it. It's a little bit cheaper, but it's a little more shoddy. But you have to be in human form unless you're in your house. Basically.
Is the gameplay like The Walking Dead? I mean, is it more or less kind of a point and click of sorts? Or?
Pretty much, yeah. And it works really well with the controller. I played it with both the mouse and keyboard and with the controller, and I didn't really decide which one I liked better. I think probably the mouse and keyboard for some of the quick time events, but it's really whatever. I mean, it's point and click and quick time events. But okay, so then there's the farm, and the farm's kind of like, oh, you're too much of a you're a unicorn. You can never be a human. You can't even speak English. So we're just going to leave you at the farm. Like, it's that kind of place, but it's also the kind of place like, oh, you're breaking the rules. I'm sending you out of New York City and sending you to the farm. So it's kind of a prison. So that's basically the background of the story.
Does it have a machine for pigs on it?
Oh.
You see what I did there?
I did, and I'm not sure. I
mentioned another game within this game.
Anyway. So, all that being said, the storyline is really weird. Like, Beauty is just like this blonde chick, and you call her Beauty. I'm finding it really hard to get immersed into it, and I think but it's also the first episode, so it could be just as simply as this is introductory. I felt the same way with the first episode of the Walking Dead video game. I didn't play it, but I watched playthroughs of it, and I watched people play the first episode. I was like, this is boring. I don't care about any of these people. I don't care. But then I ended up watching like the entire series because I eventually found out that, oh, these episodes get really good and lots of cool stuff happens, and you start to really care about the characters. But it's just weird. It's just really weird. Like, Big Bad Wolf, like, Bigby, he'll get real mad and he'll, like, go, like, werewolf style on you, and he'll just, like, start getting hairy and stuff. And, like, it's funny because his character archetype is, of course, the Big Bad Wolf, and so everybody's scared of him, but he's, like, his thing is, like, but I'm trying to show people I've changed. I'm not the Big Bad Wolf anymore, which sounds ridiculous. Like, that just sounds ridiculous saying it out loud. So it'd be interesting if they can make that convincing. It's so up in the air for me because, I mean, I bought it. I'm pretty sure I got it so I get all the episodes. So I'm going to be able to play it all the way through. But I'm really confused if this is going to be any good or not. I just can't tell. It's so confusing. It's so weird. They can beat the crap out of each other. They can throw each other out of the windows. They can shove an axe into each other's head. And they'll just kind of like heal after a couple minutes. But they can still die. They can still like be shot and killed, or they can get their heads chopped off and killed. Are you guys understanding my confusion?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, I just don't know how it's going to be really hard to get immersed in this. I don't know. Like I said, it's just the first episode, but like in the first episode, like you will just say you have a friend, and all of a sudden at the end of the episode, that friend's dead. And you're like, what? Like, there's already those kind of like twists and turns to it that I don't know why that happened that way, but I guess I'm gonna find out. Like, so it has that kind of like grasp to it, but it's just a really weird concept. It's much weirder than zombies, that's for sure. Ugh. But it looks really good, and it plays really good. And if you guys have any questions, I'm just kind of rambling until you interrupt me with anything. Otherwise, we might move on to other stuff.
Moving on.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I've been playing. But, so, like I was saying earlier in the episode, we've got... Oh, no. We'll save that for the last topic. Let's actually move on to the Steam controller video that came out this past week. We talked a little bit about the Steam controller on the last podcast and maybe the podcast before. I don't know. We've been talking a lot about it. But they actually released a video, and it shows the guy's hands and thumbs and stuff playing it, and then it shows a few games. So let me see if I can remember it. It's Portal, Civ 5, Counter-Strike, Go, and Papers, Please. And I don't know. Okay, so did you both see the video? Have you both seen this exact video?
I saw the Portal 2 one.
I saw the Portal 2 one, yeah.
Did it have like commentary and stuff over it?
Yes.
Then that's really weird, because the one I watched started out with Portal 2 and then eventually just went into the other games.
Huh. Also, I don't know. I didn't watch the whole video, so maybe after towards the end it went on, but I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, so even with the Portal 2, like, I don't know, what do you guys think? Like, I was impressed.
It looked like it was better than I thought it would be, but there's just no way it could be as responsive as analog sticks or a mouse. I don't know.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're making them because they're smart, but it just seems like there would be some point where, I mean, take iPhones for example, or I mean, any touch phone. At some point, I know that I'm hitting something and like it's registering like the button over or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm like, no, I'm trying to type this and not that. So,
right.
As long as there's not issues with, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Calibration, I guess, as far as like the touch areas.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think it's a cool idea on a new take on a controller, but
yeah.
I mean, it's not enough to make me want to go back and play Portal 2 or something like that. I mean, I'd be excited to see like, okay, this is a new, fresh IP or whatever, and this is how we're going to take advantage of the Steam controller, the touch controllers, whatever.
Okay. Then you obviously have not seen the new video, because the new video.
Did you see? You say it looked good against Counter-Strike?
Video. The one I watched was strictly Portal 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that must have been the one that they did before this one, because this one obviously started out with Portal 2, but then they went to the other games. So, and he talked, and it's really worth watching. I put a link in the last summary. I don't think I've gotten in trouble for that, so I might do that again in the summary of this one that links to this video, because it's really worth watching, because he talks over the whole video, and the whole time he's talking about exactly how the buttons are mapped and how they feel and whatever. So I'll talk a little bit about this video and kind of hit on some highlights that I thought were really interesting. First of all, he was using the controller not mapped as a controller, so like it wasn't registering that a controller was in. The controller was registering as a keyboard and mouse. So he was saying this, and this is W, A, S, and D, right? And that this was supposed to be the mouse. And so that's how the buttons were mapped, as opposed to like, this is going to be X, this is going to be Y, this is going to be B, and this is going to be A. So it wasn't registering as like an Xbox controller plugged into the computer. Is registered to the computer as a mouse and keyboard, and then he just programmed certain things. So when he had like Portal 2 and the Counter-Strike Go, he was using the left trackpad as like a D-pad as opposed to like a no, he was using it as a joystick, and he's using the left one or the right one to aim, just like you would do a dual stick. When he was at Civ 5, he was using W, A, S, and D. Do you guys know what Civ 5 is? It's a big grand strategy game.
No.
Yeah.
It's like Command and Conquer on crack, but without all the. It's like no, it's not like Command and Conquer. It's like
Age of Empires on crack.
Yeah, it's like Age of Empires on crack. There you go. But you build cities and you conquer things, but it's like isometric. It's flat. You have a big map that you like navigate around, and that's pretty much all it is. But he was using the left trackpad as W, A, S, and D. That's where he was using W, A, S, and D. So it was like up, down, left, and right, and that was to move the screen around the map. And then he's using the right as just to control the map. So, and then he was using like, I think maybe triggers to click or maybe another button to click left and right. And that game's all mouse driven, and it worked pretty well. I mean,
see, that's what worried me whenever I saw Portal 2s, is because it seemed like the right trackpad, he had to like drag his finger across it several times to turn around. And I was like, I didn't know how well it would do in a first person like competitive shooter game where like Call of Duty or something like that, and you're trying to play that. Like, I just didn't see how it could match a mouse or something.
And that was the thing about the Counter-Strike video. The Counter-Strike video is pretty interesting because he was really accurate despite the fact that he was not using like any auto aim assist like normal controllers usually provide when you like on consoles and stuff. But he definitely wasn't really fast at aiming. So it could be one of those things that somebody gets their hand on that controller, a little Asian kid somewhere, and it's just like, boom, I'm awesome at this. Like, it could be one of those things that it just takes practice, or some people are going to be good at it, some people aren't, but it definitely wasn't as quick as like you would with the mouse. But we also don't know anything about the guy playing it. Maybe he's not a really big Counter-Strike player. Maybe he was being slow on purpose to not make the people sick watching it or whatever. Who knows? But it was really really interesting. And then Papers, Please. This was the most interesting part, was the Paper Please video. Because that's a full window, like it's all mouse driven. It's just you click and drag everything, but you have to be really fast, because the whole point of that is and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but you're a guard in a stand, and people literally hand you their papers to cross the border, and you have to make sure they're authentic. You have to check like numbers, but if you don't do it enough, this is like a fake Eastern European country. If you don't do it enough, then your family's really poor and your son gets sick and die and all this bad stuff happens. So it's a really weird game, but it takes a lot of like really quick mouse movements. So both the left and the right were used as trackpads, and so he would like flick the left flick his thumb across the right pad and then flick his thumb across the left pad to move the mouse all the way across the screen. So it was kind of like two quick movements as opposed to one fluid movement, which was really interesting to think about using the controller that way. And obviously it would take a little bit of practice, but you could definitely see how like just swiping alternately with your thumb could kind of make sense to move, a large amount. And if you watch this video, he definitely does some like momentum building with spinning around in the Portal. So like when he flicks his thumb to move across the trackpad to like turn and aim, it doesn't, when he lifts up his thumb and his thumb's no longer on there, it kind of has like an iPhone effect when you kind of swipe. So the character was still kind of turning a little bit. So you could kind of build up more movement and kind of keep spinning around. And then you could just place your thumb. So it kind of had that iPhone where you like swipe and then you just put your finger back down to stop exactly where you want to be, which would make aiming interesting. I mean, it definitely could make it a little more easier. And then since you have that super precise kind of mouse kind of precision that you don't, because you can just do little micro movements with your thumb there, you can get like that super accuracy. I don't know. It's really interesting. I've heard people being impressed, and I've heard people not being impressed. Anything I say make you guys any more excited about it?
I mean, I want to like it. I'm not a PC gamer, and I already love my console controller. So it's it's a new area.
Yeah, it definitely is. I don't know, Nathan. If you could play computer games on your couch with this controller, and you could play any game that's on the computer available now. So it's basically every game that's ever been on a console could be played on the computer, plus games that can't normally be played with standard controllers now. I mean, is it enough to make you switch? I don't know. Did you already go? Did he leave? He said he had to leave.
What happened?
I don't know. Nathan, you there? Okay, he might have gone without saying anything, which is fine. He actually did text me and say he might leave, so I guess I just didn't. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I should have read the rest of the text. Anyway, so he's gone. Anyway, bye, Nathan. Everybody say bye.
There were two.
Say bye. Say bye, Kyle.
Are we leaving?
No, just say bye to Nathan.
Oh, bye, Nathan.
Okay. Well, then I'll just keep talking. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do want to say, though, I don't see it as... I still don't see or understand exactly what Steam's trying to do with this whole Steam operating system console controller. I don't know who that demographic is that they're going to. I know it's kind of mainly PC gamers, but I don't see a lot of console gamers switching over right now.
I don't know. The way you just described it actually kind of made me like change my opinion on it. Like
in a good way or a bad way?
I mean, if I can, no, in a good way. I mean, that's,
yeah.
I think that's some people's like, if you were to come up to me and say like, are you a PC gamer? Like immediately what clicks into my head is somebody sitting in like a dark room in a basement, grinding away on World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
But if you say, would you be a PC gamer if this allowed you to have a console experience, and also be able to have everything in Steam available?
Yeah.
Then when you think about that, you're like, well, I don't know. Actually, yeah, that does sound pretty great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's going to be in their presentation of it. If they focus it on bringing, I don't know, the PC experience to the living room and like making it like that, I think it'll go over well. But if they just kind of focus it on, it's just PC on your television, I don't know. I know it's essentially the same thing, but just ways of viewing it like in your head and like just hearing it has vastly different opinions as far as like how you form them. So
it's really just a matter, and this is the big difference. It's a matter of how you want to game. Do you want to be sitting forward or do you want to be sitting backwards? Like that's really the biggest difference. Do you want to be in a room where multiple people can sit and watch you play, or do you want to be in a room where really you're probably going to be the only person who's going to be able to watch and play because the screen's too small? I mean, it's all going to be a matter of opinion. This is my theory. This is my big theory about this whole thing.
Let's hear it.
I think this whole thing is going to crash and burn. And I kind of wish they'd announced this. Seriously, I wish they announced this 2 or 3 years ago, though, because I can see this controller being the future of controllers. Like, I can see this being the new controller. I can see trackpads, this responsiveness, this... what makes the trackpads most interesting is the fact they can be so diverse in how they work. They're not just joysticks that can either move a character, move a camera, or move it's how it's I don't know. It's really interesting that like these two trackpads can work together to control the same like control a mouse on the screen, or it can be used as kind of an analog stick or a D-pad. It'll be really interesting to see how games develop as this becomes popular, because I think this controller is going to be the biggest thing out of this whole deal. Like the Steam box and all this other stuff, maybe it's just a ruse to get this controller in people's hands. Maybe they're thinking, once we get these controllers in people's hands, it doesn't matter if the Steam box works anymore. It's going to get PC gamers, or it's going to get console gamers playing PC games, because now they have a controller that can play any PC game that they want. They don't have to worry about learning how to use a keyboard and mouse. They can play whatever they want. They can feel more comfortable playing things like Civ 5 and whatever else.
I thought the idea of the Steam box was like already, I mean, not announced, but I thought that was something that has already like been bouncing around for a while now. Or am I just
It has been. No, it has been. It's been around for a really long time.
So I mean, like, so essentially the only new thing out of their announcement a few weeks ago was, I mean, pretty much the controller, right?
Yeah, I mean, even the operating system, really all they were saying is, hey, we're going to make Linux better, is really what they were saying. We're going to make Linux for gamers, which they've kind of already said that they were doing that. They were saying, hey, we're going to start selling Linux games, and we're going to work with Linux to make their operating system better. And now they're like, we're really doing that. So yeah, the controller's the biggest piece of all this. I mean, even the consoles themselves aren't being made by Valve. They're basically being made by other companies.
Right.
This is why at the end of the day, I feel like they're saying we're taking this console war and basically saying, screw you, Microsoft. We're not using your controller, and we're not using your operating system, and we're gonna show you how this is done. Like, it's all really anti-Microsoft when you think about it, because like the biggest PC controller right now is the Xbox controller.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Except for they say that the PlayStation 4 controller will be compatible with computers on day one.
Really?
Yep. Which is interesting. They say it'll be compatible. It won't have necessarily be like full featured. So you won't necessarily have like the move controls or maybe even the vibration and stuff. But there you go. Something to
Interesting
think about.
stuff.
All right. Well, I think that's about it. What do you think? I'm really just kind of sad right now. What if Nathan's dead? I shouldn't say that, because what if he really is dead? Oh gosh. Yeah. I mean, there's this other small story of Activision, Blizzard, the head of both those corporations, coming together and spending like, I don't know, like almost $6 billion to buy themselves out from their parent company because they're a piece of crap. But nobody really cares about that. It's only the largest company, corporation, video game people ever. But whatever.
I think it's so weird that Blizzard is as big as it is. Like,
yeah, because they only had. No.
I know that, but it's like every time that I hear something like this, I'm like, didn't they just, like, I just picture them as like a development company and that's it, but they're like massive.
Yeah, they're huge. Yeah. They're at their peak. They had 12 million players of World of Warcraft.
That's unreal.
And they used to make console games. Like they made the Lost Vikings and stuff. Like they've been around for a really long time.
Yeah.
They're old school and they're good people, sort of. Not really. But anyway, yeah, I guess we'll just end it. There's nothing really to talk about the Activision Blizzard thing. It's just something that happened and we could speculate, but what is there to speculate? Activision's going to keep releasing Call of Duty. Blizzard's going to keep milking that WoW cow until they've got something else. So there you go. Nathan, I want you any last thoughts? Yeah, I just want to say I really appreciate everybody listening to the FTHcast, and Paul, you're really awesome. Well, thanks, Nathan. That was uncalled for, but I appreciate it.
Very sweet of him to say.
Well, Carl, you're a weird douchebag. Now, Nathan. Inappropriate. Let's just end this before it gets any worse. You can follow us on Twitter at FreeTheHawk, that's me, and at WhoAmKyle, that is Kyle, and at Heisenberg56 to find the Phantom Menace that is Nathan. That was pretty good, I must say.
That was pretty good.
And yes, I live stream from time to time. I guess I'm going to live stream after this. Some Dark Souls, actually, which doesn't matter to you because this is releasing 2 days after my live stream. So, but yeah, follow me. I try to stream on Mondays if that helps at all. For you who don't have Twitter. Anything else? I don't know. Oh yeah, just keep in mind November and December are going to be rough for podcasts. We'll see how many we can get out. It'd be nice to get one out every week, but that's not going to happen. I'm just going to be honest. It's not going to happen. And Game of the Month is the Arkham series. I think we're good. Everybody, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye. That was Nathan, that last one.